Welcome back to another episode of Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation, right here on Verde Valley TV and KVNA 104.7 FM. I'm your host, Philip Catafamo. We have got a great show in store for you this week. Later in the program, we'll be joined by Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Manager Jak Teel, who will break down the benefits of the youth camps offered by the department. We'll then be joined by Yavapai College Athletic Director Brad Clifford, who will talk about the addition of new programs and local recruitment. But on the other side of this break, we'll be joined by Prescott High School wrestler Lincoln Eby, who will discuss how wrestling has tested him mentally. All of that and a whole lot more coming up right here on Off the Bench. Stay with us.
Two things we can count on every year.
A new set of tax rules and great weather here in Northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. I am joined now by Prescott High School wrestler and, former Prescott High School wrestler, Lincoln Eby. Lincoln, welcome on to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're happy to have you on, man. Lincoln just wrapped up his senior year at Prescott High School as a state runner-up in wrestling this year for the Badgers. So, Lincoln, I thought we'd start out from the beginning. What got you interested and participating in the sport of wrestling?
Yeah, so when I was little, I always watched my older brother wrestle throughout high school. I always go to all his meets, and I thought it just looked so fun and so cool with him doing it, and that's why I started.
It's got to be pretty cool to follow in your brother's footsteps, to get a chance to wrestle. Did he also wrestle at Prescott?
Yeah, he did. It was definitely awesome being able to go to his practices and watch how it all worked. And then when I finally got to get there and do my own thing, is definitely an awesome process.
And it's got to be cool. I mean, obviously you get a chance, like we said, to follow in your brother's footsteps. How has wrestling challenged you mentally?
I mean, it's a huge mental sport. You have to make weight. You have to be ready to wrestle whenever they call you. And, then you're like kind of tired or whatnot. But it's a huge mental sport in that kind of way. Just being prepared always and working hard always, like working hours and hours just to wrestle for 6 minutes. But I've loved it, and it's made me a lot better.
And let's talk a little bit about that preparation. I mean, you talk about cutting weight, which is obviously very tough. You got to run a lot or kind of restrict your diet. What are some of those preparation things that you did? Any secrets to the trade of maybe how to cut weight quickly or just to better yourself a little bit more as a wrestler?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, losing weight's more about like keeping yourself healthy, like eating the right things at the right times. And then there's always trying to lose some water weight if you can. But really what I did, I mean, I cut weight when I was younger in high school. But as I went through, I kind of learned going up a weight class and eating and feeling better definitely just made the whole experience a happier time. And I could have so much more fun that way.
What are some of those differences between you cutting weight and then having to gain weight? I mean, like you said, going up a weight class, maybe you get a little bit more of a break from having to watch your calorie intake and pounding a whole bunch of water. I mean, what are some of the differences that you've experienced with having to gain weight and cut weight? Yeah,
so when you cut weight, you're bigger, definitely, and but then you're like not feeling as good. Everything's just a little harder on you mentally. But when you go up a weight class for me, I just feel like I can just work out more and eat and then feel just stronger and happier. And it's all about having fun, and I do better when I'm having fun. So
What are some of the things that you'd eat to gain weight? Because I know that a lot of people maybe have the idea that possibly eating a bunch of junk food would be the way to gain weight. There's a way to gain it unhealthily and healthy. What are some of the foods that you try to emphasize a little bit more when you're trying to gain some more weight to hit a weight class?
Yeah. So that's like right now, that's what I'm doing too. I'm trying to gain weight before I go off to college. But I just focus on just a lot of food, just a lot of proteins, like lots of meats, and then obviously lots of vegetables to offset that. But I try not to just go like bad food. That's not really the way to go because I want to stay fit while I'm doing it too. So I just try to really just a lot of meat. I mean, I have some like protein powders and stuff like that, but more just real food that just feels good, and then I can work with it and it works my muscles, and that's what works.
What goes through your mind when you finally get onto the mat? I mean, from the start to the finish, where are you at mentally?
Yeah, so it's just a ride. I love it. You get really nervous like before you like watching the matches before getting out there. But once I get there, I think like, all right, this is what I do for fun. This is my mat. I'm gonna go have fun. I'm gonna do my thing. It doesn't really matter who I'm wrestling. Like he can be, 3-time state champ, or he can just start. Like, doesn't matter. I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do there, and I'm just gonna go have fun and go win.
Now, I mean, like for me with baseball, whenever I was, we always get taught for baseball, you don't think while you're up at the plate. Don't think while you're in the field. You just have to act. You just have to go off reaction. Now with wrestling, it's a little bit more obviously, you've got another person on top of you. So the whole point is to get that other person off you. Are you thinking about your technique? Are you trying to remember things as you're wrestling? Or are you just blank-minded going, I know what I have to do and I'm going to get it done?
Yeah, more like the blank-minded thing. Like you've been prepping for a long time for all of this. Like you've been working every situation in the room. You've been thinking about it before your matches, thinking about what moves you want to do. If you've seen the guy wrestle, thinking about that. And when I get out there, it is like a blank space, like a blank time. Like I don't really know what's going through my head. I know I'm doing moves. I know I'm trying things. I know I'm seeing opportunities. But once I get off the mat, that's just a blank time. I haven't remembered anything that was going on while I was wrestling.
Now, you've been around the sport of wrestling for a very long time. You mentioned it early on, going to your older brother's practices and being around that sport. What life lessons have you taught, what life lessons has wrestling taught you?
Oh, definitely a lot. It's really shaped me to who I am now. And it's really just not giving up. Like you can't ever give up there. When I was little, like I went to tournaments, we travel all around, and I'd not do that good. I get beat, but I just get back and try again and keep going and going. And it's just like the persistence, because if you work hard, you're going to get there. You get out what you put in, like when you should work hard in the mat, off the mat, like at home, and everything you do. And it's just trying to have that mentality of being the best. And it doesn't matter on the mat or outside of the mat. It helps, like it teaches you on the mat wrestling, like to be the best there. But then I try to take that everywhere I go and be the best in everything I do.
So it seems like it's really helped with your work ethic.
Yeah, definitely.
And probably if anybody ever tries to tackle you, you'd be able to throw them off you, right?
That's right, for sure.
I mean, what are some of those? Let's talk about that a little bit here, Lincoln. What are some of the long-term benefits that you've experienced having participated in the sport of wrestling? Are there, maybe just things in terms of training that you've learned, or just maybe has strengthened you mentally? Like you said, your work ethic has gotten a lot better since starting the sport of wrestling. I mean, what are some of those things that have helped you grow as a person because you participated in wrestling?
Yeah, so there's a lot of discipline with it, right? Because people can wrestle just during the season, and then you'll be however good that makes you. But really, to get to like the next level, you got to work off the season, like without the coach there, without someone telling you what to do. So it's really gave me a discipline to like go run or go work out, go eat right, make sure, because your coach isn't always watching you to make sure what you're doing is right. So you got to really work hard and just all the time and just be disciplined, doing it for yourself. And I think I can take that throughout life and just keep working hard. And I love running. I love working out. Like it's something I'm going to always do. So I'll help me just stay healthy throughout my life as well.
Again, we are speaking with former Prescott High School wrestler Lincoln Eby. Lincoln just wrapped up his senior year with the Prescott Badgers as a state runner-up in the wrestling state championships this year. Lincoln is headed to Clarion University in Pennsylvania. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a couple minutes. But Lincoln, what's your favorite memory out on the mat? I mean, what's something that's going to stick with you for a little while?
Yeah, so there's one thing is almost feel like a movie moment kind of thing. My junior year, I've been undefeated so far, and then we went to this tournament, and it was like a dual tournament. It was a 2-day dual tournament. And my very first match, I lost 3-1 to this like really stout guy. And then I was pretty sad about that. It's the first time I lost all year. So in that whole rest of the tournament, I mean, I pinned everyone else the rest of the tournament. And then right at the end, you do a individual tournament and you go back, and I wrestled back the individual tournament, and me and him were in the finals. And then we had a like razor close match, and I won that match and ended up winning the tournament. And that was just like, it was such a cool feeling, like to be able to get that match back and walk off the mat, and my whole team's like cheering and everything. I just like loved how awesome that moment was.
What about a moment of adversity where you really had to challenge yourself to overcome a bigger opponent or a more skilled opponent?
Right. So I remember it was my freshman year. I was in Phoenix at this tournament, and this was the returning state champion, actually. And we were in a really close match. And I remember the end of the match, I thought I was down and I thought I had to get out. So I was running. I was trying so hard to get out, and he was held me down the whole time. And I by the end of the match, I was dizzy. Like I wasn't even like thinking straight. I got up and I was wrong. I was winning. So the ref raised my hand, and I looked at him like really confused. I'm like looking around like, you mean me? And then I like kind of, and he's like, yeah, you won. I was like, what? And I like kind of stumbled over because I was blocking out, like stumbling over to my coach, and I'm like, what happened? Did I win? And that was just a fun moment because like I had no idea. I was really just giving everything I had because I thought I needed to get out to win that match against that guy he was older than me and like already proved himself. So it was a really crazy moment as I was out of it, and it was really crazy to figure out I actually won that match.
Now, obviously, we talked about on the mat. What about off the mat? I mean, you're still going to be wrestling at Clarion University when you go attend the school in the fall. But what about just being with those that high school team? What are you going to miss about being around those guys?
I mean, this year especially, we had a small team because of all the things that had gone on this year. There's only about like 10 of us. And it was just a really like close knit at that point. We were all super good friends. We'd all hang out and talk to each other, like mess around with each other. And that was just fun being like kind of part of that family, like here in like a smaller town, where like everyone knows you and everyone's parents, and we're going to go to somewhere it's like brand new. It'll be a fun experience for sure, but we'll miss that like hometown feel.
What about just in general? Any fond memories of going to the high school? Any things you're going to miss about just the Prescott area in general? I mean, you'll obviously get to come back. You got family and stuff here, but you'll be at Clarion University. You'll be in an entirely different state in the fall. So, what are some things about high school that you might miss?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm going to miss the warm weather. First of all, it's a big change going over to Pennsylvania. But growing up here, I've been able to do so many things like around here, like going to like the lake or going jeeping, like my family. Like we have dogs, and it's like running with my dogs, playing with them. Just those kind of things that's like at home. I feel like I'm gonna miss a bunch of that. At the high school, I've gone through there, and my brother and sister went there first, so I even knew a whole bunch of the teachers there before I even got there. And it was always fun. Like in J ROTC, I was a member of J ROTC for the last 4 years. It was fun just being able to talk to those guys and learn from them. And so I'll miss like all the people that are here.
You were recently awarded the United States Marine Corps Male Distinguished Athlete of the Year Award, which is presented by Prescott High School. The Marine Corps is just a sponsor. Prescott is the one that gives off the award. So, I mean, you get an award like that. What does it mean to you as a leader in the community and as a senior, an upperclassman at Prescott High School?
Oh, it meant so much. I was so happy when our athletic director, Miss Townsend, she's helped me out throughout the years. She's been so nice to me, and she's really helped the program. Like sports at Prescott High School has been awesome under her leadership. And when she gave that to me, I was just so happy. I was surprised. It was really awesome. It means a lot, like coming from the school, just like being recognized for working hard, the last 4 years. It was really awesome.
Yeah, we're a big fan of Missy Townsend here on Off the Bench. Miss Townsend is great. She's very, very nice. Always welcoming to come on the show. Like I mentioned, you signed with Clarion University of Pennsylvania. What about the university made you want to go there?
Yeah, so actually a few years back, I was at a camp at West Point, and I met one of the wrestlers at the time, Brock Zackrell, and he was super awesome. Like we just really connected. And he was so fun while I was there. And he actually just became part of the coaching staff last year. And so I was able to like reach out to him, and we were able to talk. And I just love him. I love his energy and how much he helped me out while I was there. And then we went to visit, and they got awesome programs there. It's a small town too, but they got awesome facilities, and they have an awesome business program. That's what I'm going to be studying while I'm there. I have an awesome business program. I can go on like a 5 years master degree kind of process, and then I'll be wrestling for those 5 years too. And I think that'll just be a really awesome fit.
Yeah, what a great opportunity for you to not only continue your education, but also get an opportunity to continue to wrestle at the next level. You mentioned your business degree. Anything specifically that you'd like to accomplish with that degree? Any kind of career field that you'd like to go into?
Yeah, I've looked at owning like gyms. I kind of want to start my own gym, or maybe a wrestling gym, but probably just a gym overall with all sorts of different components. I think that'd be a really fun thing because I love fitness. I love working out. I love just health and everything. So being able to work with that for like my business would just be like a dream come true.
Yeah, definitely. As somebody who is currently working in their field of a passion that they have and a dream that they have, I can tell you that it is pretty great when you get an opportunity to do things that you very much love. We talked a little bit about you're going up in a weight class right now. You're getting ready for the fall season. Have you gotten a chance to speak more with your coaches? What else are you doing to prepare for the upcoming wrestling season in the fall?
Yeah, I know. We can talk a little bit, just like since they're so far away, it's mainly like just a Zoom call or so like this. But preparing wise, I'm really just lifting hard. Right now, I'm just trying to lift hard, get bigger and stronger, working out a whole lot. I'll start running and swimming, and I'll start wrestling again. I haven't wrestled as much recently, but it's just really pounding the weights right now, trying to get big and strong and just ready for, all those killers in Pennsylvania.
Let's talk a little bit about you and Coach Collette. We'll bounce back to the Prescott High School days just a little bit. As you talked, the wrestling team is a little bit depleted this year because of COVID. So a lot of kids not coming out or maybe not wanting to wrestle with the mask mandate. But Coach Collette, what was your relationship with Coach Collette? How did he help you grow as a wrestler? And yeah,
he really like saved our program, right? Like, our previous coach had to leave, so we didn't have a coach for the high school, and he really just stepped in. I didn't know him too much before. I knew him a little bit. We used to lift with him and his team in the football team, so I knew him a little bit from then. But I really just met him. I really got to know him a lot better this year, and I just got to know him, and he helped so much. Just I don't know, he's just encouraging, keeping us working hard, keeping us on point, not letting us veer off or anything. He keeps us focused, keeps us going, and he just really saved the program so that we can still wrestle this year and still have an awesome year.
So before we let you go, Lincoln, again, we were speaking with former Prescott High School wrestler Lincoln Eby. He is headed off to Clarion University in Pennsylvania in the fall. Before we let you go, Lincoln, if anybody is questioning possibly starting a career in wrestling or going into wrestling for high school or maybe even starting at a younger level than that, what is your pitch to anybody who might be on the fence about joining wrestling? What would your pitch to them be to get them to participate in the sport?
There's so many different things. It just builds character. There's everyone in wrestling. They're good people. They're hardworking people. And if you come and wrestle, wherever else, Dan Gable said, once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. And that's true. If you come wrestle and it's your thing, you love it, that's awesome. You can take off with it. If it's not, it's going to stick with you throughout your life, wherever you go. If you go to a different sport or if you just go to a business or just schoolwork, it's going to stick with you and help you just to work harder and be disciplined. Like we were talking about earlier, it'll definitely just help you out a lot. And it's just fun, all the people there, you're just gonna have fun with them. You're in close contact with everybody. You're definitely going to get some close friends for sure. And in every way. And it's just fun, you're on the mat, just rolling around, having a good time, getting to be physical where, you're not always allowed to be physical, especially now, but you just get to be physical with people and just have a great time.
Former Prescott Badger Lincoln Eby, now current Clarion University freshman. Lincoln, we're excited to see what you accomplish at Clarion University. I hope whatever you have planned is able to go through fully 100%. Best of luck with your business degree. I hope soon to be a member of the Eby Fitness Gym whenever that happens to pop up. But Lincoln, thank you very much for coming on the show, man, and best of luck in Pennsylvania.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time, and thank you for having me on.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Manager Jak Teel right here on Off the Bench. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules, and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. I am joined by Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Manager Jak Teel. Jak, welcome onto the show.
Hey, thanks, Phil. Glad to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. The Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Department holds a lot of events for youth to adults, a whole bunch of things going on at the Parks and Recreation Department. More recently, of course, this month, the department was able to host their basketball and volleyball camps for 1st through 8th graders. How was the turnout for both of those camps?
Phenomenal. Both of them, we had to cap them this year because we had such a high reservations on them. Like our volleyball camp, we've never hit over 30 before. We had 60. So, I mean, it doubled 100% this year. And I don't know if that's a sign that we're doing a good job or a sign that people are ready to get back out and start doing stuff. Maybe it's a mix of both. But yeah, we've seen phenomenal participation in all the programs we've been putting on. Basketball is no different. We had to cap that program at 70. We wanted to do more, but just staffing it, having the coaches and the volunteers there. For all the registrations you have to have somebody host those courses and those trainings and those camps. So we found ourselves having to cap it at 70 participants because we couldn't round up enough staff, enough help, enough volunteers to increase those registrations. So really great turnouts. We're really happy with both those programs.
Yeah, and that's got to be really encouraging. Like you said, you guys are obviously very happy about the turnouts. Capping it off is very good as opposed to canceling it because you didn't have enough participants. Do you think maybe, you kind of mentioned it a little bit, Jak, do you think that maybe the increase in numbers has to do with the fact that we couldn't do a whole lot last year?
I think so. I think that's definitely part of it. People are ready to get out. They've spent enough time at home with their kids, and the kids have spent enough time at home. They want to be around other people. So I think that's part of it. But I also think it's a switch in the demographics in Cottonwood. I think we're beginning to get more families back here. And when more families move here, that means more kids getting enrolled in outside programs. So I think it's twofold. But if I had to put my money on what's the driving force, I would say people are ready to get back out.
And it is also good, of course, to see more families making their way out to the area because, like Jak said, you get more kids into these camps. They can host more camps. They can host different camps. Speaking of the volleyball and basketball camp, what do they consist of? What are kids getting into when they join those?
Yeah, so we call it recreation fundamentals with an emphasis on fun. So first and foremost, we want people to fall in love with the sport. If you fall in love with it early, you're more likely to carry that on through your middle school, through your high school, hopefully to the collegiate professional levels. So we want them to learn how to have fun, but also teach them the fundamentals of having fun in those games because it's no fun going out and getting smoked because you don't know the fundamental skills of it. So we really focus on the beginning technique. So in volleyball camp, Coach Angel does a really good job of breaking down each skill and showing us how to set, how to bump, how to get our footwork in the right place. And all the things we need to do to put ourselves in places to be successful. So when we're going to swing on the ball, we're trying to get that nice spike. Where our hand placement should be. How's our footwork? What's the setup to get to that process? So she breaks down each step. And then on the return side, it's how to properly dig, how to angle your hands to get that ball to go up and not straight over to the outside. So we're teaching those fundamental skills that you can build on, use as your foundation to continue to grow in the sport. And the same thing in basketball. A lot of the things we work on are dribbling skills. Make sure that people can control the ball, get them set up with proper form for shooting. You got some people in the NBA right now, the Lonzo Ball and those guys who have some crazy shooting form. So if it works for you, we try not to say this is the only way, but we give you the tools. We teach to the standard and we grade to the objective. So we're going to show you what a proper shot looks like, what good form looks like. But if you're out there and you're sinking buckets from three, we're going to let you do your thing, and we're going to try to coach you the best way that you as the player need to be coached. So it's a lot of partnering for success, coming to their level, meeting their needs. But those fundamental skills, having fun, falling in love with the game.
Maybe a guy like Lonzo Ball or maybe even a Ben Simmons who have those awkward shots can go take a trip over to Cottonwood and get some training from the fine people that are running these youth. Again,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, again, I know Ben Simmons could really use it right now. Again, we were speaking with Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Manager Jak Teel. Jak, you mentioned Coach Angel. What are some of the other volunteers and coaches that you see? Is it newer people to the game that are just trying to get some coaching under their belt? Are you seeing a lot of former maybe Mingus Marauders coming in and helping out? What is the skill level of the people who are out helping coordinate these camps?
So it's a wide mix. We've got somebody from all sorts of skill levels within it. So a lot of the times we do partner with the high school program, specifically when Coach Barry was over there. We worked really closely with him on the basketball program, getting some of those students over here. Because what I try to tell people is if you can teach a skill, you're reinforcing that skill for yourself, which is only helping you. So these student athletes that also second as coaches are not only helpful for us because they're the people who our kids are looking up to directly here locally, right, but it's also furthering their skills. So when they get out onto the court, they're like, hey, I taught it this way. I should probably do it this way and remember those fundamentals. But we've got some really high-level coaches in our area. Ryan Sanderson is our lead volunteer, our lead coach for our youth basketball program. And Ryan is an AIA official that has done level of games all over the place. He's done the college championship games. He does all the high school games here locally. We've got Bobby Woods who over there helps out, Donnie Buss who helps out. And I'm always hesitant to start naming names because I'm going to leave somebody off the list. So if they're watching this, I apologize. Not intentional. But we really have high level of coaches in all of our programs. That's a commitment to Cottonwood and the type of person who we can attract here. And those people are often the ones who want to give back. I don't know that she's helping out this year, but Heather Calandra has been one of our coaches many years. And if you don't know Heather, she set a ton of records here in town in our youth basketball program. When she was coming up, we had to create specific Heather Calandra rules because she was so dominant. And those type of people come back to the community and they help out. They spend their time here. They raise their families here. So she's just one of the individuals who's done that. Her level of skill, like I said, she succeeded on the highest level of college. Those are the type of people who we try to get in our programs and doing things like that. So it's a mix of everybody. You don't want me out there showing you how to shoot free throws. I'll do it, but I'm not necessarily the best person for it. So we try to get somebody who's a better expert than I am.
Well, it's always good to surround yourself with people who have that kind of knowledge. Like you mentioned with Coach Barry getting a chance to come back and help run that youth program. He's now back at Mingus Union High School, so maybe we'll see the return of Coach Barry getting his hands into the youth program, because I'm sure a lot of coaches see this as an opportunity to see what's coming up for them when those kids get to that high school level. The Challenger Sports British Soccer Camp, can we talk about that? What is it and when is it?
Yeah, so we've got that coming up here late July. It's that last week in July. And it's a program that I'm big in Parks and Recreation to where we don't have to be the provider of all things. We should be the facilitator of all things. So this is a program where we partner with the Challenger Sports British Soccer Camp to put it on. So our staff doesn't have a whole lot of involvement outside of helping facilitate the registrations in the process, because those guys are the experts. They're the ones who travel the world doing this as their career. When you align passion with work, you get a great experience. And that's exactly what British Soccer Camp brings here to Cottonwood. So we've got a week-long skills clinic for them. They play all sorts of games. They teach you all sorts of fundamentals. They do a mini World Series. They'll break up the teams into all the different countries out there, do a little mini cup for them. And you always crown the winner at the end with whatever region they're from, whatever country they're from. So they really do a good job of bringing that soccer, because all over the world, soccer is huge. Only in America is it not the biggest sport. So it's super important that kids are getting back into that and doing it. The people they send to teach those clinics are so fun. They're always energetic, super knowledgeable of the sport, and they bring that fun atmosphere to it. When teaching the skill, you don't realize it's a skill. Everything is a game out there. But the skill building and all those components they go into it, really well done from those guys.
Well, you talk about the Challenger Sports British Soccer Camp. Obviously, you just said it's more of a collaborative effort with you and, or excuse me, the department and them. Some other collaborative efforts with other teams. I mean, we've seen, the Cottonwood Clippers swim at the rec center. There have been some club softball teams who have held events. What has that collaboration been with those other organizations when they go, hey, you've got the facility, we've got 80% of it done. Can we get that last 20% from you guys?
Yeah, so specifically, since I've taken over as the Parks and Recreation managers, we are trying to refocus the shift of Parks and Recreation back onto kids. Parks and Recreation is largely a function for our youth, but we do a lot of adult programs and things like that too, and we're going to be rolling out some senior programs here shortly. So we really try to target the entire community and all different demographics there. But at the fundamental of it, Parks and Recreation should be targeted towards the kids. So if there's ever anything we can do to help the kids, we do it, whether that's facilitating the space, whether that's giving staff time, whether that's help lining a ball field, or it's our staff going out and volunteering. We always try to meet the needs when they're brought up. We're very fortunate that we've got some outstanding people running our local youth sports here. The Cottonwood Clippers swim team. Not only do I have a strong personal relationship with them, because my son swims with them, but a strong professional relationship. I've been through now 4 of their board turnovers. And the relationship has only gotten better every single time. So the relationship with them is phenomenal. Last year they came to us and said, hey, Jack, or 2019 rather, they came to us and said, hey, Jack, our program is growing. We went from 100 kids to 140 kids. We need more pool time. I said, all right, let's sit down. Let's discuss what more pool time looks like, how we can get it done. So we sat down, we reworked our schedule and got a lot more pool time for them now. Which is good we did, because now they're up to 200 kids in their program. We try to meet the needs, and the same thing with Verde Valley Little League. Jane Lee and the entire Verde Valley Little League board, they're phenomenal to work with too. We get to facilitate the field use, the light use, things like that, and they run the program, and it's super successful because you got people dedicated to that one specific sport. If I had to do it as a Parks and Recreation function, Travis, who's our sports guy, he's already got a ton of sports. So to throw another large one in on him, I don't know we'd be able to do it as successfully as Verde Valley Little League does. AYSO is another big. AYSO has 800 kids. I'd have to have a full-time staff person just to run their soccer program. So with us, it's all about facilitating usage. They need fields. Well, we have the facilities. Let's figure out how we can pair up and make it work. So getting them the tools they need to be successful in their program. That's really what our role is to help facilitate, help be a good partner, and let private industry do what private industry does best, and we fill the gaps.
And I think that's best. It's also a good understanding of knowing, where your guys' strengths lie and where their strengths lie. Like you just said, you guys are, you're there to help out whenever you can and provide what you can. And they're kind of doing, they're coming to you guys and going, hey, like you said, with the Cottonwood Clippers, we want more swim time. What can we do to do that? Okay, let's sit down and talk about it. So you brought up earlier, since you've taken over, the focus has been more on those youth sports. Obviously, there are adult leagues and senior leagues, which you just said they're coming up. But I feel like the perception with a Parks and Recreation or a recreation center is that your clientele is like 50 to 90-year-olds, which is not true. I go to the Cottonwood Rec Center. It's great. It's fine. You guys offer a lot of great things that maybe some people aren't aware of, one of which being the disc golf course, which isn't necessarily located right inside of the recreation center, but it falls into the jurisdiction of the department, and a roller rink as well. What other sort of amenities do you guys offer so that kids don't feel like, oh, well, we're going to the rec center because grandma and grandpa go there?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've done at the recreation center in my role is we've eliminated adult-only times. There's not enough things for kids to do already, so there's no way I'm going to tell you can't come to the pool between 11 and noon because we got adult programming. In lieu of the summer we sometimes get some competition for use in there. But take out those 2 months, June and July, rarely do we have issues of kids going in, creating disturbances during the adults. So we aren't just an adult-only facility, no matter how many people want to think about that. We do have a lot of different opportunities. Disc golf is one of them. We oversee the skate park. We oversee, like you said, the skating rink. We've got big open green spaces where people go out and use all the time. We recently, this past year, with Showtime Sports, they wanted to run a basketball league, and we couldn't all do it indoors because of the rules and regulations of the indoor league. So we figured out how to use our outdoor courts down here in Old Town to facilitate a basketball league. We'd never done it. I've been in Parks and Rec since 2004, and we had never one time hosted anything at those courts that was an organized activity. So it was groundbreaking and super simple when we got the structure of it. We've got things all over. We have 110 acres of parkland between all of our parks. We just put in a trail that connects Riverfront to Old Town Cottonwood. The Riverfront Trail, I tried to do a community rock garden there. It's taken off a little bit. We got some rocks in there. And different activities like that. We did a spirit week back the week of Valentine's Day, where we try to do a bunch of different activities. So we're always trying to do something. We oversee the Cottonwood Youth Center. We oversee the Old Town Activity Park down here in Old Town. But when we start looking at some of those activities you can do by yourself, we have a geocaching program too that we started up this past year. So we've got puzzles hidden all over town. You go onto the geocaching app, then you can try and find our secretly hidden geocaches. And then in there we have a passport. So you complete the passport, you find all of our geocaches, you show us the sticker that you pulled out from it. We give you prizes for turning in your passport. So we've got a lot of activities you can do, whether it's by yourself or with a group. Parks Rec has something for everybody.
Just before we let you go, Jak, volunteers are always needed, of course. And then what other events are going on before we let you go, and where should people go for that information?
Yeah, so we try to update our website with all of our information. So if you go to cottonwoodaz.gov, click on the Parks and Recreation tab, you'll be able to go through all the information we have there. We've got a facilities tab, we've got a reservations tab, we've got an events tab. So hit those up for sure. Make sure you understand what's going on. But right now I'm actually in the kitchen of the Cottonwood Clubhouse because we have Cottonwood's Missoula Children's Theater going on. Okay. So I'm down here in Old Town doing the Children's Theater right now. We've got the basketball camp going on up at the Rec Center. We have our 4th of July fireworks display extravaganza coming up on 4th of July this Saturday. What is the date? June 26th. Is that Saturday? We have our dive-in movie. Yeah. So we've got our first dive-in movie coming here this Saturday, along with big softball tournaments. So we've got a lot of things cooking coming up. We're working on Walking on Main. We're working on Thunder Valley Rally, those bigger marquee events as well.
If you want more information, again, like Jak just said, visit the city website and go under the Parks and Recreation tab. You can find all of the information you need about the Parks and Recreation Department, camps, events, everything going on. I do want to thank Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Manager Jak Teel for coming on the show. Jak, thank you.
Hey, my pleasure, Phil.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. I'm joined now by Yavapai College Athletic Director Brad Clifford. I was putting your first and last name together here, but Mr. Clifford, more importantly, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. I've been called worse, so you're fine. That's good. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
I hate to say it's 2 weeks in a row that I've messed up a guest's name, but a great sports season for the Rough Riders. I know the decision was made to push a lot of the sports to the spring season due to COVID-19. Thankfully, we were able to get the sports season finished for Yavapai College. A lot of programs made the playoffs, but I want to ask you in general, you can give us the wrap up on the sports. How did it go this very weird sports season for the college?
You know, it went as well as it possibly could. In fact, it probably went better than I thought it could do. could go. We didn't come in the fall. We had no student athletes on campus. They were doing school, via Zoom and online. Which by the way, they did a great job academically in the fall. And then we got to get them back here in the spring. We brought volleyball, baseball, and softball in at the first part of January. We didn't bring soccer in until March. So we had the three teams on three sports on campus. They were starting to practice. They did a great job of social distancing. We had some very stringent rules on what they could and couldn't do. And so we had to test them every day. They were wearing masks and were they perfect in everything they did? No, they weren't, but they were trying. And my goal, and I told the coaches this, and I told the players this on our Zoom meetings, my goal was to get through the regular season. Let's get through the regular season. If we make playoffs, that's going to be great. But let's get through the regular season, especially softball and baseball, because you didn't have a season, prior. And so they did a great job. They did what they had to do. Our volleyball team did a great job. So anyway, we brought them all in. They practiced. They started the season. Volleyball had a great year. They ended up winning the conference, which is, I think, only the third time we've done that. And granted, we didn't play against Maricopa schools because they weren't playing indoor sports, but we beat Arizona Western and Eastern Arizona and Pima. And those were the four teams that were competing. And Eastern Arizona and Arizona Western are traditionally powerhouses in the country. We beat them. We ended up the conference with a 7-1 record. We played them over and over and over. And to go 7-1 against them was fantastic. They ended up beating Hill College, Texas, in a district championship here at Yavapai College. And then we ended up going to Missouri for the national tournament. Granted, we lost 2 games, but we were so close to move on a little bit. But they had an unbelievable year. We had the player of the year in Liz Toyaival, and they just had a beautiful year. Baseball and softball, they started at their regular season. They had a few shorter games, less games than we've had in the past, but they went ahead and got started. Our softball team had an unbelievable year. They won the Division I conference. We have Division I and Division II on our conference. We're Division I, and we won the Division I conference championship. They went on to win the region. We didn't lose a game in the region championship. We go on to the national tournament, and we just kept winning, and we end up 4th in the country. I was joking a little bit with the coach saying, hey, you know what? I'm really tired. I want the season to be done, but I want you to keep winning. And they kept winning. I was hoping to be home by Tuesday. We ended up getting home Saturday, but nonetheless, it was because we were winning. They did an unbelievable job. Jocelyn Ulrich ends up being the player of the year in the conference. They just had a great year. Baseball, they were subpar in the season, but it got us to the playoffs. And it doesn't matter what happens in the regular season. You get to the playoffs, guess what? Katie bar the door. We end up winning the region. We end up hosting the district championship. We ended up losing to the eventual national runners-up in Central Arizona College at the district. But what a great year for them. Soccer came in late. They started in March. We didn't have a coach until February because our famed coach, Mike Pantaleone, retired. We brought in Andre Luciano, our very first goalkeeper, and he was up at NAU, with the women's team. Did a great job up here, but we hired him here. He came down, got to know the kids just real quickly in March, and we played right at the beginning of April. So they had like 25 days to get to know each other and get in shape. They end up winning the region. We go to the district championship up in Salt Lake. We end up losing to Salt Lake, who ended up winning the national championship. So we had an unbelievable season. Again, my goal was to get to the regular season. They far exceeded what I wanted to do or what we anticipated doing. All 4 teams wins the region. All 4 teams go to the playoffs, and it's just a fabled year for this weird COVID year.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Clifford, to you and your programs for completing a very successful season. You talk about the men's program welcoming in a new coach mid-season. Obviously, the women's program, which is a new addition to Yavapai College, will be getting started this season. I guess I should say technically next season, but it's the season coming up. But anyway, the program did add their first ever coach, Rosie DeWeese. I just want to ask, what made her a good fit for the program, and how exciting is it to see women's soccer come to Yavapai College?
First of all, it's a natural fit. I mean, women's soccer in Yavapai County is good. very good. And I think that was just a natural addition to Yavapai College. And so we're excited, very excited to have women's soccer coming up in the fall. They're going to play back to back with the men. This year, I think it's per our conference rules, the women play first, the men play second. Then next year, the men will play first, the women will play second. But we're excited to do that. She's recruited a team already. She's got a couple local kids that are going to be playing. We're just excited about the team. Now, as far as Rosie goes, she was kind of a no-brainer in the applications that we took for this. I was on obviously headed the search committee, and we had some great applicants. We had a coach that just won the national tournament that applied and really could have been a natural fit as well. But Rosie kind of stood out with her experience at the Division I level, NCAA Division I, at her experience with club ball. What intrigued me most about her is her abilities to teach the game. And so she's going to be a good teacher for women's soccer. And also she's very high on academics. And so that's what we want to do is we want to graduate these kids. We want them to focus, become the student athlete, not just the athlete student. And that's what really stood out with me with Rosie. I'm excited about Rosie. We're as a matter of fact, in the process of hiring an assistant coach, and she should be, I'm not sure where we're going. She or he will be on board here in about 10 days, 15 days. And then we're going to start playing. I believe our first game is going to be in fact, I'm looking at it right here, end of August, probably August 25th. So we're excited about it, excited about Rosie, and she's excited to be here.
Well, you talk about Coach DeWeese adding some local talent. That's been a push from the college in the last few years to try to recruit more kids, athletes, or students to come to Yavapai College who have lived in Yavapai County or even Coconino County or just the state of Arizona in general. There have been a few players who played at Prescott High School, Mingus Union, obviously. But Brad, I mean, can we talk a little bit more about that push to add more local students?
That's coming from us. That's coming from the administration. We want to have local talent. We want to use local talent. We can fill our rosters with people from out of the county, down in Phoenix, wherever. We can fill the rosters, but really we want to be a community college as well. We want to have our local talent. So we do have local talent coming into Yavapai College this next year to compete for us. I know as a matter of fact, we've got Jace Taylor. They're from Cottonwood, from Prescott High School. Is going to be playing baseball. He played a couple games this last year. With this COVID year, he could play a couple of games and not lose a year of eligibility. So that's good. He got his feet wet, and now we're going to bring him back. Big tall kid, big strong kid. We're looking forward to that. We've also got Sadie Backus coming in to play volleyball for us. And she's actually part of the honors program here at Yavapai College. So we're excited about what she can do for us. We've got a couple local kids, Prescott High School kids that'll be playing baseball and softball for us. So, excuse me, I'm choked up.
You're so excited.
I'm so excited. But yeah, so we're that's a push. Is we're gonna try to have a number of kids on our roster that are from Yavapai County, and that's a push from the administration.
Yeah, and it's a nice push to see. I mean, obviously, local college is going to attract a lot of kids normally. I know the stigma around the community college in my hometown was sort of nobody wants to go there, don't go there. But Yavapai College, completely different. People use the junior college level to, just fill out the rest of those couple years of eligibility, maybe find their way on some club teams or some amateur teams, depending on the sport, of course, or maybe trying to find that next scholarship opportunity at a Division III, II, or I. A lot of benefits to going to a junior college. But I want to ask you, we talk about sort of filling those rosters. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of competition in the recruiting process. There are a lot of community colleges here in Arizona, not to mention, obviously, around the entire world. But I'm curious, what is your approach when knowing, there's an athlete that you really want to see play for the baseball team or whatever, and you guys look at him and that he or she is going to be fielding in a lot of offers from other schools. So how do you approach that when there's so much competition around you?
And having coached, I coached women's basketball for 15 years. And so the recruiting trail is real familiar with me, and trying to get the top talent here, even local talent. Right. I lost out local kids that wanted to go down to Phoenix or wanted to go, elsewhere. and keeping them home or drawing them to Yavapai College, in my mind, is not a hard thing. Yavapai College has a great atmosphere, has a great collegiate atmosphere for those kids that are maybe not ready to go to the big time schools, the Division I, ASU, Glendale, or Grand Canyon, or something like that. They're not ready. This is a perfect place for them to start. And so selling them to come here is not a hard thing. It's a matter of maybe if the kid wants to go that far away from home, or if that, we get out recruited. And that's the bottom line, is if the kids don't come here, we're getting out recruited and we're not doing our job. Our coaches, though, do a great job, and we typically get who we want to get. I mean, that's evident. This year we had 3 players of the year. Noah Turley, I didn't mention Noah Turley with baseball. He was also a player of the year. We had 3 players of the year in the conference. I mean, we're getting some very, very good talent. So I think coming to Yavapai College is an easy fix. If you've gone to other facilities across the country, like I've been to a lot of facilities across the country and in the state of Arizona, our facilities at Yavapai College, not only for our athletic teams, but just in general, they are above everybody else. I mean, we got the greatest facilities as far as teaching goes, classrooms, our cafeterias on both sides of the mountain, mind you. This is just a great place to go to school, and it's not hard to sell that to the kids, and especially sell it to parents. We've got the dorms on campus, and the dorms, you've got 2 to a room down here. You go down to ASU or somewhere else, you got 4 to a room. You got a bathroom in the dorm room. You're not going down the hall, and tramping in in your towel and whatnot. It's all happens right here in the dorm. So selling kids to Yavapai College is not a hard thing, just because of who we are, of what we do, of the academics that we have. That's the easy thing too. Our academics are so above. Our kids are ready to go to the next level. Our kids are ready to graduate here and then go get to the next level and get their degree from there. And that's how we base our success. We've got great success on the field. We've always had great success. 15 national championships, 90 region championships, 90 conference. And we've got great success. The great success, though, we have is in the classroom and graduating these kids and moving them on. That's what we look at, is moving them on to the next level.
I love the nonchalantness about having over 90 titles, championships and stuff. I love the
like it's that easy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's that easy. Again, we were speaking with Yavapai College Athletic Director Brad Clifford. The Rough Riders wrapped up their spring season and their sports season just a couple weeks ago. And now the focus, we're in the off season now. I know the college is hosting some youth camps in July. Let's talk about that. What are they? What can kids expect when they join them? And when are they?
We've got, and I'm going to pull this up right here. So I
know there's a few of them in July. You got a couple of them.
We've got a number of them. We've had a couple of them already. We've had volleyball. We've had a baseball camp. We're looking to do a girls soccer camp coming up here. And I'm looking at July 10th, August 15th. We're going to do another women's soccer camp. We're going to do a men's soccer camp. We're going to do a softball camp. We're looking to do some camps also on the other side of the mountain in the Verde Valley. So we want to get over there and do a couple of camps. But yeah, that's what the coaches are working on right now. Finishing up recruiting, obviously, that's the most important thing. But then we are offering camps for each sport that we have. We're even going to, eventually have, and we'll talk about this in a minute, Phil, is esports. We're going to have an esports camp as well. Yep. So we're going to be doing a lot of camps this summer. And like I said, moving over to the other side of the mountain and doing some camps over there as well. Additionally, I didn't mention this, and I want to mention this, is we're going to play a few games over there in the fall at Mingus High School. So our volleyball is going to play a couple games over there. I've had a chance to talk to the AD over there, Coach Yancey. He's a great man, and we're going to do some things over there. We're going to we won't be playing soccer over there because the fields just aren't big enough. We've got to have a big enough field, obviously, to host a college game. But we are going to do some baseball and softball games there in next spring.
Nice.
And so we're kind of excited to go do that, kind of make it a traveling show for us.
Again, Yavapai College Athletic Director Brad Clifford, thank you very much for coming on the show and talking to us a little bit about Yavapai College. If you want more info about Yavapai College, go visit their website, go visit the athletics page, and go check it out if you're looking to attend Yavapai College for any reason, or if you know a student who might not be sure where they want to take their education next. Mr. Clifford, thank you for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. And yeah, just to piggyback, go look at our website, www.yc.edu. I had my daughter went here, and it was a perfect fit for her. It was a perfect fit for me. I didn't know what I wanted to do. She didn't know what to do. She went on to graduate. It's a great place to go. So come to Yavapai College. It's a great place to go to school, and go to www.goroughriders.com and check out athletics. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank all my guests for coming on the show this week. Prescott High School wrestler Lincoln Eby, Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Manager Jak Teel, and of course, Athletic Director for Yavapai College, Brad Clifford. That is going to do it for this episode of Off the Bench. We will see you next week.